When I consider who to trust with my vision health, it is an easy choice with Eye Centers of Tennessee. As a working entrepreneur, Eye Centers of Tennessee helps keep my business in focus. But even more so as a single mom, I know I can trust them with my family's eye care needs. You have a choice when it comes to your vision health. Choose Eye Centers of Tennessee. Thanks for joining us here at Powered by Her. I'm Tiffany Anton with the Biz Foundry. We want to take a moment to say a special thank you to Eye Centers of Tennessee, where you can get your frames, your eye exams, your contacts, all your optical needs. They're a great partner to have and a great resource for the Upper Cumberland. Today we have Rita Julian today with Julian Bookkeeping. I'm super excited because, I don't know, 2 years ago so, we went through the Test It Before You Invest It class and the Start Up Your Startup class at the Biz Foundry together. I thought you were a high school student at the time. You just seemed so young, but you were driven and you knew what you wanted to do, and you weren't a high school student at the time, but welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Tell me what Julian Bookkeeping is.
Yeah, so it's a virtual bookkeeping service for small businesses and entrepreneurs. I do a little bit of bookkeeping, payroll, sales tax, all the fun things.
So I remember kind of digging in when we were in the class too. What's the difference between accounting and bookkeeping?
Yeah, so accounting with, the people that have their CPA, their Certified Public Accountant license, they are the people that will file your annual tax return. There are certain things in the accounting world that you have to have that CPA license for. Bookkeeping is more of the day-to-day tasks, the monthly services that you're needing to basically make sure that everything is kept up and nice and organized and neat. That way, when you do go to your CPA and accountant, everything is good to go for them to file those annual returns for you.
So like keeping track of receipts and, like you said, doing payroll and making sure that the account doesn't go below zero, I'm sure, those kind of things that when you're running a business, those are just things that people want to not think about.
Right, yeah.
And so another thing that I think was so interesting is that you had the vision to work specifically with entrepreneurs and small businesses.
Yes.
Why?
I don't really know. I guess my mind goes to my dad. He has a small business. He owns Havaline Express Loop in Cookeville, and I've watched him really enjoy doing the books for them, and just kind of followed in his footsteps. And I guess just being around small business owners and kind of watching from behind the scenes, in Cookeville, all these amazing women starting, their own thing. And I worked at the chamber as well and saw all of these business owners. I would be at the Bizapalooza and all those events and, just watching, all these small business owners just thrive.
Did you really feel like you could be such an asset to them in offering these services?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I've watched a lot of people get really stressed out when it comes to their bookkeeping, and they may be good at it and they may like it, but they just don't have the time. It's not something that they can have on their plate at the moment. And so I have loved that part, especially getting to be able to take those things off their plate.
Well, and I think it's interesting that it's kind of like marketing. Some people, you either are a numbers person and you're good at numbers, or you're not. Marketing people are either good at social media, they enjoy it, or it's painful to them.
Exactly, that's me.
And I think I say this a lot. I was a former math teacher, and numbers are like a disease to a lot of people. I feel like people are like, I don't do numbers, I don't like numbers, I don't understand it. And to me, it's like, it's black and white. How can you not understand?
Yeah.
But I think you're one or the other.
I agree.
And so you just having that sense of numbers has helped you kind of, like you said,
Definitely.
be a valuable asset. And I think it's interesting because so bookkeeping services are similar, like hiring a marketing company.
Yeah.
Of just somebody to manage your social media, but you're managing your finances.
The books, yeah.
So, what if you were 10-year-old Rita? What was your plan for life? What did 10-year-old Rita want to do?
I don't remember what it was when I was 10, but I do know that it was very early on. Math was always my favorite subject. I want to say maybe high school, middle school. I remember sitting down with my mom and dad, and they were kind of explaining to me what accounting is like, and they feel like that I would like that, and I just immediately started sparking an interest and, wanting to learn more about it. And so
I'm sure people look at you like you got 5 heads sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Like, because, I mean, you get it too, where people just act like they're allergic to numbers.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Which I'm sure you kind of feel like, I mean, it's black and white.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I've always loved it. It's been, my absolute most favorite thing. People think I'm so crazy. I'm the biggest weirdo. I love QuickBooks. I love being in the system. It is my thing. I'm in it all day, every day.
Yeah.
I love it. It's crazy.
So when did you launch Julian Bookkeeping?
It was December 2019 when I got my first client. And I, of course, started to try to think of, how in the world am I going to start this in the summer, because that's when I went to the Test It Before You Invest It workshop.
And you knew you wanted to start your own business. You didn't want to work for, you knew, and we talk about that a lot on the podcast of just, you have some skill set, but running a business is a separate part of that.
Yeah, for sure.
So you knew you wanted to do your own thing and start your business.
I really didn't. Like, I knew I wanted the accounting world and I wanted to be at home. But starting a business, the idea of it freaked me out. And I remember it was my dad that put the idea in my head. And I was like, there's no way. No, I'm not starting a business. No, I'm not doing that. That's crazy. I'm not your typical risk taker. But, I really started to think about it. And I was like...
And you were 21, 22 at the time.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I was in grad school, right?
Yes, yeah. So I think I was a senior in college, and then moving, that transition into grad school was when I started to really think about it.
Yeah. And so what do you think made you decide to take that leap to start the business yourself?
That Test It workshop, I gotta say, because beforehand, I was like, I'm just going to go see, I'm going to go sit in there, and if it's overwhelming and I don't like it, then I'll know it's just not for me,
Yeah.
And so I went in there, and I feel like that was the turning point for me, for sure.
You must have been, like, you must just be somebody that kind of keeps their cool all the time, because I think you just seem so excited and so interested in what you were doing, and just, it seemed like you knew you had a plan, and
that's amazing.
All those things. So as you've gotten a couple years under your belt now, and you've expanded, you're all over the country. I just saw your map the other day. You have all these little hearts in California of clients that you're working with in California and throughout the whole country. What do you think has been the best part about being an entrepreneur and running a business?
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you asked that. My most favorite part has been getting to connect and meet with these amazing business owners all over the country. I mean, it's just surreal. Like, the fact that I've developed these incredible relationships with, people out of state and that I've never met in person.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. And I get to hop on Zoom, and it's, 8 a.m. for them, and they have their cup of coffee, and, it's 3 hours later for me. And it's so bizarre to me, to be able to have these really super close relationships with these amazing business owners that,
and they put a lot of trust in you to take care of their books. Like, that's...
It's huge.
Yeah. And so how are you connecting with people?
Yeah, so crazy story. When I first started out, I had absolutely no idea how I was going to get clients. It's like the big question, how do I even begin? And I mentioned in my video a couple weeks ago that my first client did come in locally through the Biz Foundry. But I was, funny story, searching on Instagram. I think I just typed in the word bookkeeping, honestly. I was like, who are some virtual bookkeeping business owners that I could, kind of
see what
follow?
They're doing.
Yeah, because I didn't even know, what I was doing, how to begin.
Yeah.
And so a lady in California popped up, and I just Instagram messaged her and started firing some questions. And it was crazy because she said, I have all these clients that I need a little help with. Would you want to kind of learn under me for a few months? I was like, oh my gosh, yes, that would be amazing. That was in October.
Yeah.
And so I had, a few months before I had kind of started in December with her. And then, of course, she was incredible. She started introducing me to other business owners in California, and it just took off from there.
And it is amazing, the power of just word of mouth, of just, connecting with one person, and people say, well, I really...
just asking questions.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's really been amazing to see, like I said, see your growth in just 2 years of how far you've come. So what's been the worst part about owning a business?
The worst part? I would say 2 really big challenges for sure. Back in October, I did this huge, price increase.
It's hard to figure out the value for yourself too.
Yes, and it was really hard for me there in the beginning because I was so afraid of people saying no. And I just was at a point where I was like, I'll take anyone at any price, you know? And that's the one thing that I definitely regret. Because if I would have gotten that solid foundation in the beginning and just had been a little bit more confident, I would have been better off.
Yeah.
And it was really great because I met with lots of mentors who helped me, draft those emails, come up with a really good base foundation pricing model. And it was some hard conversations, I didn't want to send the emails. I didn't want to have to do that.
Yeah.
But it was the best case scenario could have happened. Everyone was on board. Everyone was so nice. It was wonderful. And then
Do you think a little bit of that is your personality, that people
for sure,
are not, your name's attached to it, it's Julian Bookkeeping. It's your, it's you. And so you get to kind of have the company culture however you want the company culture to be.
Right.
And so when you lay out that, you have a good heart, and so people are not thinking that you're just trying to take advantage of them. They're really trying, no, you're growing your business. And so I think that's probably why people stick it out with you and don't have these, painful conversations. And even though it was you had a lot of anxiety, it kind of turned out okay.
It did. It turned out beautifully.
Yeah.
So thank goodness. It was awesome.
So what was your other thing you were going to say?
The other thing, having a baby. That definitely was a large transition for sure. It wasn't something I was totally ready for. And, I, of course, planned. I'm that girl that prepares all the time.
You're
and
a financial person and a numbers person. So yeah.
Yes, for sure. So I have 3 awesome employees that are wonderful.
Just stop in that. You have 3 employees.
I do.
Did you think that 3 years ago you would have employees yourself?
It's so crazy to even think about. I had a goal of getting 1 team member, to kind of help me out, but I think it was December 2020. And I was about to have the baby, and I hired my 3rd one in January. And it's so crazy to even that's even coming out of my mouth. It's so crazy.
That's awesome. It's such a journey for you to see you as a business person and growing your business and knowing the steps that you want to take, having employees and having people on your team. So what advice do you have about that learning curve of building a team?
Yeah, for sure. They're all part-time, and they're all business majors at Tech. 2 of them accounting and then 1 business management. It's so crazy because at the beginning I was like, I've never been a boss before. I don't know what I'm doing. What's the process here? I need someone to talk me through this, They have been incredible. Definitely the biggest advice I could probably give is take the time to sit down with them and train them however long it may take, whether it's 1 training session or a few weeks, however long that they need to be able to digest the information and really get a true understanding of how QuickBooks and all the systems work.
Well, and how you want to run things in your business, and this is how we handle these customers, or this is how we work with clients.
Yeah.
I think that it can be a tough situation for a boss to say, no, I'm going to do it this way.
Right.
And even though that's a difficult kind of boundary to have, I think it's better in the long run when you put the time in and you make things the way that you want to run them. Again, your name is attached to this business.
Exactly.
And so you have somebody that's out there representing you, and if they're not doing it the way that you really care that it gets done, that's a problem.
Yeah, beautifully said. My words exactly. This is perfect.
So, what do you think? Where do you see this going from now? You've kind of expanded across the country. Mm-hmm. You have 3 part-time employees. What's your plan?
Yeah, so I'm kind of at a stopping point right now, honestly. I have, of course, a few that I take on each month, and then I open up a wait list for the future months, and I have to take it very slow. That's been the hardest part, honestly, because I want to give my son 100%, and I want to give my clients 100%. And so I would rather have a smaller amount of clients right now, and give them 100%.
And so he's about 5-6 months old now.
Yes.
And so, and that's a hard thing. I think we talk about motherhood a bit on the show, and just the pressure to be it all and do it all, and you know, you want to run a business. Right. This is a dream and a passion of yours just as much as motherhood is.
Right.
And so, you know, neglecting one for the other isn't really an option for you.
Yeah, exactly.
And so kind of figuring out that balance. And you have especially a difficult situation because you're working from your house where your baby is all the time.
Yeah.
So what are you doing? How are you doing this?
I feel like I should not be giving advice because I'm still trying to figure it out.
Well, I think that that's really important for people who are listening because there's somebody somewhere that is at home with their baby trying to run a business.
Yeah, for sure.
So, you know, what have you either found that doesn't work?
Yeah.
I can't do this, or what has this kind of helped me out?
Yeah, for sure. So the plan right now is to just be with him at home until he's at least a year old. And I have found that when he is napping or eating, I can be, you know, at the computer getting stuff done. When the little man's awake and he's excited and wants to play, I have to step away from my work. You know, he wants to be with me. He's ready to play. And if I try to, you know, get some things done while he's in that phase, I get stressed, he gets stressed, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I've really found my groove, just as far as like, you know, his schedule, when I can work, when I can be at the computer. And the hardest thing is when I'm, you know, in the zone, in the middle of something, you know, being okay with walking away for a few minutes. Yeah. That's been the hardest thing. When he's up and walking around and getting older, I would love to try, you know, like a little Mother's Day out. Maybe to where he, you know, Tuesday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Friday, I work.
Yeah.
And then I have my, you know, my computer to myself, and he's elsewhere. But I mean, then again, it's just whatever works.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is, I think you're right, of stepping away. Mm-hmm. I find so often in the afternoon, I pick my kids up from school, and I'm still doing a bunch of work on my phone, and I'm like, you know, and they're talking, and I'm like, and I'm pretending, and then I'm like, I don't even know what this email is I'm sending, and I don't know what you're saying either. Yeah. So nothing is winning. And so trying to, you know, okay, this is this time. I'm not going to be on my phone. I'm not going to email. I'm not going to be working. You know, my focus is on you, and okay, now I'm focused on this. I can, you know, I mean, a 10-minute or a 10-second email takes 10 minutes to finish because I'm like, wait, what are you saying? You know, and trying to do all that. So that balance is just, but I think that that's a really unique, and a lot of people have faced that in the last year. Of just trying to, you know, homeschool or whatever we were calling virtual school and all that kind of stuff in the last year, where it's like, okay, well, I'm trying to teach my kid because they're at home with me, and I'm trying to finish my work, and I'm trying to do the things around the house. I mean, so speak on that a little bit too, of how, again, you have your office in your house. Mm-hmm. So how do you make sure that you're focused on, I got to get this work done, and the laundry's here, but I'm not going to do the laundry right now. Yeah,
all the things. My husband, just got to give a shout out, has been absolutely incredible. He gets home around 3 or 4 usually from work, and he immediately takes the baby. He is so helpful with things around the house. He realizes that I have, you know, a business with many clients that I have to tend to, so he has been incredible, to say the least.
Well, and that's good to have the support system, whether it's a husband or a friend or family that, you know, can either just pitch in just around with physical activities that you need done, or just the emotional support. I think that that's a huge thing with entering into motherhood and running a business and all those things. There's a lot to all that, and the support system is really important.
I agree.
So 5 years from now, what do you think? What's the plan? Where do you see this going? Do you see having full-time employees, an office building?
Yeah, so I feel like whenever I have all my kids and they're all grown and in school, that's when I'll really take off, you know, possibly.
Ready to scale.
Yes, yeah. Possibly have an office in town, have some full-time employees, you know, really kind of take off and, you know, have my dream big, large business that I have, you know, always wanted.
Yeah. So
but that's definitely far in the future.
This is kind of you're good with kind of keeping where you're at, and
just gonna kind of stay put.
But being such an asset to the small business community and all the people around, you know, and you still get to feel like you're helpful and impactful and all that kind of stuff.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
How can people find you if they want to find you?
Yeah, so I'm on, I have my website, it's julianbookkeeping.com, and then I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest.
And for those who are just thinking, bookkeeping has 2 Ks in it.
Yes, 2 Ks.
It's just hard when you're like typing it out, like, what, does it? Does it not? Does it? You know, because it's just a weird.
You know, that's funny because my email, I have sometimes someone will try to email me and I won't even get it because they'll just do the 1 K. So yes, it's 2 Ks.
2 Ks in there. So, so all the, and did you say Pinterest?
Yes, Pinterest. So I pin lots of like ideas as far as like tax write-offs and small business owners, like what they can be doing as far as like DIY bookkeeping if you want to do it yourself. I have tips for like, you know, certain businesses. Like I think I have a board that's photographers, bloggers, just like how bookkeeping can be different for each business owner. So I kind of organize it that way.
That you're just so, you might be a numbers person, but you are aware of the rest of, you know, you're aware of business skills and things that businesses need. And I just love that you're not just so, okay, I just want to sit behind a desk and fill out a tax return for your company. I think you really, truly care about the betterment of these businesses. And I love that. I love your heart. It's so great.
I appreciate it.
All right, find Julian Bookkeeping on social media, all the places. I'm sure you do consulting. You know, people can meet with you and do a Zoom call. And sometimes I like to check out the baby when, if I can, when they're on a Zoom call. But he's adorable, and congratulations on that. So thank you so much for coming in today. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Rita Julia Bookkeeping. Thank you so much for listening to Powered by Her. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell, get all the notifications. And if you're liking what we're doing, be sure to leave a review. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for being here.